My husband and I went to Florida last year in March. We usually go at the end of February or the very beginning of March because when you live in Pennsylvania, those cold, gray days can kind of wear on you. So every year we try to get down to Florida for a week or more. And so we did our annual trip. And for the first few days of that trip, I went off the rails with my eating. I eat pretty healthy, but boy, let me tell you, those first few days, I just was eating all the things that I normally don't eat. And I remember the one evening we went to an Italian restaurant, and it was such a good Italian restaurant. And I just ordered all the stuff, and then I finished that particular meal with just a lovely piece of cheesecake, which is my favorite all-time ever dessert. And surprisingly, like my husband was surprised. He looked at me at one point, he's like, I don't know if you're going to sleep very well tonight, but surprisingly, I had no repercussions from my poor eating, and that night I slept like a baby. But I came to a point, after that, after I had kind of eaten really poorly for a few days, and I looked at Mike and I said, the madness stops now. And I cleaned up my act and I went back to healthier eating for the rest of our time in Florida. Now, I love food. I am a good cook. I really, literally, there's that saying that says a life misspent, or what is it? A life, oh my gosh, I can't even remember, but it basically says that if you're spending your life in the kitchen, your life is misspent. Well, let me tell you, I have a life misspent because I spend an awful lot of time in the kitchen preparing food. I love food. I love to cook. I love serving my family. I'm an expert at all of them. But there's this thing I've done for the last 9 years that has kept me on the straight and narrow. And it's the reason I don't veer too far off the path of healthy eating, and that's called education. Staying educated helps keep me convicted in my thoughts and my behaviors. Education reminds me of what sugar or bad seed oils do on the inside of my body. It explains why my fatty middle, which I can't seem to get rid of, is not just a vanity issue, it's a little bit of a less than healthy liver issue. It tells me how nice long walks don't just affect me today, but they're going to affect me for years to come. However, I have very selective memory because I really would like to remember only those things that I would like to remember. But staying and being educated is continually confronting me with the facts and brings me back to my big why. And that big why is to stay healthy for me, for my husband, Mike, and for my family, especially those young grandkids who I help with and see all the time. There's another reason I stay educated, and it's why I started my health journey in the first place. Because back in 2016 and 2017, I was a very sick girl. I was overweight. I was busy in a career, and even though I was busy in that career, I was very sedentary. I was either behind a computer or driving. I didn't move. I never exercised. I had high blood pressure and other bad blood markers. But the real kicker came with the diagnosis of a brain tumor. That was my wake-up call. The brain tumor journey was a scary one because I had seizures every day. I was emotionally impaired. I was cognitively impaired. And for the last couple of months of that brain tumor journey, before it was removed, I became paralyzed on the left side of my body. Thankfully, the tumor was removed. And with that removal and the arrival of my first grandchild, I had a new big why for getting and staying healthy. In the description notes, I'm going to link you to a short video I made a number of years ago, specifically about that health journey, if you're interested. I'm sharing this with you in our preparation as we start gearing up to read the Bible in a year, because our faith journey, like my health and wellness journey, is no different. It requires being and staying educated in order to grow in our faith. We can't grow our faith by relying on our feelings. Just like I can't stay healthy because I feel like eating broccoli, or on the flip side, I don't feel like eating cheesecake. I mean, that's never going to happen. There hasn't been a moment in this lifetime where I did not feel like eating cheesecake. And so faith, like health or anything good and worthy, requires a plan, not inspiration, not emotion, not a feeling, but a plan. God tells us in Deuteronomy 6 to love him with all our heart, soul, and strength. The Hebrew word for love leans into loyalty and devotion. Loyalty and devotion are actions, not feelings. We obey with our strength. We're loyal with our strength. The Hebrew word for strength or might means muchness, or a total and complete dedication of everything one has. Feelings are wonderful when they align with obedience, but the alignment of our feelings is not the ultimate measure of obeying God and growing in our faith. Obedience is the ultimate measure. We trust that the Holy Spirit will give us the desires of our hearts, and those feelings will come right alongside of our obedience. Psalm 119:2 says, "Joyful are those who obey God's laws." We are blessed by receiving joy within the act of obedience, yet God doesn't make it a requirement. He doesn't say, if you feel like it, obey me. Or if you feel joy, obey me. No, God says, obey me. And Deuteronomy 6 reminds us to do it with everything we have. This doesn't mean that it's always pleasant or easy. Hebrews 12:11 tells us that no discipline is enjoyable while it's happening. It's painful. But afterwards, there will be a peaceful harvest of right living for those who are trained in this way. A harvest is an abundance. We will have an abundance of peace. We'll have an abundance of contentedness. This is where true joy comes in, even as it is initially that painful discipline. Discipline is about training, about having a plan and following through with that plan, just like I did for my health journey. And so with that, I have a question for you. What's your plan for living out your life of faith? If you do end up watching that health journey video I made a few years ago, you'll notice I talk about the turtle. Turtle is my thing. I even have the earrings on, my turtle earrings. I used to see my career, and now I see my faith and my life through the lens of slow and steady wins the race. It's a long game mentality, not a short game win. It's keeping on and not giving up. It's not getting down on yourself because you've not done everything perfectly. It's not giving up because you've missed a few days or a few weeks of reading the Bible. It's not feeling like a failure because you've been rude or unkind to your husband or a friend. Our feelings threaten us at every turn, but we have to recognize them for what they are, because in the end, they are not the boss of you. Say that to your feelings when they creep in and start to get the better of you. You're not the boss of me, right? Practice that. You are not the boss of me. The plan for living out a life of faith is in the keeping on like the turtle, slow and steady. It's not letting yesterday affect how you feel and what you do today. Galatians 6:9 says, "Don't grow weary in doing good, for in due season we will reap if we don't give up." Philippians 1:6 reminds us, "The good work God began in us will be completed." And Proverbs 16 tells us to commit our works to the Lord, and He will establish our steps. Did you notice the phrases God uses to remind us of a future hope in these verses? In due season, will be completed, will establish. These are words of hope for our future. What you do in the Lord will have a good outcome. It's about showing up slowly, faithfully, consistently. And if you're a no-show today, well, then be a yes show tomorrow. And never let those feelings of defeat enter in. Slow and steady really does win the race. And when you win the race, you get the best prize of all. You get Jesus, and you get his peaceful abundance, and you get to be with him in eternity. That's my plan. And I hope it's your plan, or it will become your plan. Just keep on keeping on. In my next intro video, I'm going to share a little more of my journey and how that debilitating brain tumor discovered in 2016 changed my life, how it showed me that I wasn't as strong or as invincible as I thought I was, and how I have learned to live each day as if it is both my first and my last. Don't forget to check out the description notes each week, which will again have a link to a song, and all my intro videos will have links to a song pertaining to something that we've discussed. So check that out, and then check any other details out, including what our assignments will be as we head towards the January 1st day and what each day's reading is going to be. So thanks again, and see you next time.